Hello, how are you? This is JilliBling. So what do you think? A little bit of a fun fold, a little bit of pow, bright summer to your day. So this flower, the minute I saw it, I just wanted to color it. And when I started thinking about coloring it, I thought, okay, I'm going to use the blends. Oh, what color? I should do it in all different kinds of colors. And then I thought, just because the petal area is so big, trying to get it to blend just right kind of might be challenging. So I decided to do some watercoloring. So this is watercolor paper, and I love how it turned out. So there's that one. And then the leaves have a hint of watercoloring. And I traditionally wouldn't do brown leaves for pretty peacock little details in it, but I love how it turned out because it really makes you look at the flower. Crumb cake and pretty peacock on watercolor paper, and then also the inside. I just love the effect of it. Isn't that pretty? I was thinking, what other colors could I do the flower? And I thought, you know what? This is really good, so I'm just going to leave it like this, but just imagine all the colors you could do it. So this is all about the product suite, the Simply Beautiful bundle. Let me show you the product suite. So the product suite in the mini catalog, it's on page, oh, here we go. Page 23. So it's 23. Make sure you can see all that. 24, 25. Here's page 24 is Simply Beautiful. 2 months ago, I did the Beautifully Celebrated, and I did it as an Avid. So there's 3 different projects, and they're all a little bit extra detailed, but they turned out beautiful. This paper, I love the paper. It has gold highlights in it, and it's just so pretty. I love both the A and B side of each of them. And then they have even more ideas. Lots of ideas. And look at these. I'm going to do something with these. So being Avid, that means I'm going to do 3 different ideas, and hopefully they'll all be completely different. But I want to do something with these fancy die cuts. But it's, I think that's it. That's it. It goes on to Valentine. But it's beautiful papers, very nice bundles. Today's project will use these die cuts. They're nesting, layering die cuts. They're very nice too. Okay. Running out of room. Okay, so this is what we'll use to make this card. Simply Beautiful stamp set and dies, and Beautifully Celebrated dies just for these. And I'll use 3 different sizes for the inside, the outside, which is what makes the frame. And then I'll use the larger one to make the little background. So if you thought about watercoloring but you're intimidated by it, I hope after today I could show you some ways just to kind of test it so it's not as intimidating. Every time I start to do it, and I've done watercoloring on cards, not that professional where they're like, here's a blank paper, make something. Oh, I can't do that. But if there's a line image, I've done a little bit of watercoloring, so I have a few tips to hopefully make it easier so that you'll give it a try. But do you notice how vibrant and bright the colors are? I know if I colored it with the blends, that would be very nice too, but I don't know if it's that bright and this rich. I really love the look of it. Even this, how it's so softly blended, and you could probably accomplish something close to that using the blending brushes, but there's nothing quite like watercolor paper. Okay, so this is what we need to make it. I'm going to use my embossing buddy because we're going to do plenty of embossing. The eyelid embossing folder, which is for the background right here, and then also this hinge. Do you see how there's a hinge right here? At first I had it as just plain white, and it's like, that kind of stands out. So I put texture on it, and to me it seems like it makes it disappear a bit. So I'll use this. This is for testing the watercolor. That makes it so you're a little bit more confident in what you're doing, and you'll just jump in and do it. And I'll have you know, the first one that I made is like, I don't like those colors. I was trying to add pink to the Poppy Parade, and it didn't quite work, so threw it out. But it's good to test it on the edge of the paper. Rhinestones, rhinestones. Yep, they're clear here. They're black here. We're going to use a Sharpie to color them in to make them black. I think it's a perfect effect on this card. I would say no bling, no sparkle about it, but there's some bling, but it's black. Doesn't it make a difference? It kind of looks like the flower centers, like the little seeds, the little pods. So we'll do that. Watercolor paper. In the catalog, Fluid 100 watercolor paper. Every time I get this, I order it. I'm like, wait a minute. That's not a full-size sheet, but this is how it comes. Watercolor paper is a lot of fun. That's our little tester. This is just, in the video description, I will have all the paper cut sizes and the hinge score lines, what size to make it and where to score it. But we'll do it today on this project. And they're in the video description in case you want to make this one too. Okay, so all these pieces, it's like, that's a whole lot of white papers. But there's a plan for them. So I'll set that one right there. These are for, let me find the dies. So there's 3 of this fun shape die. So I'm going to do these 2 together, and I'm going to do it twice. Because did you notice on the sample, the frame has 2 sides to it? I might do things a little bit different on this one. So here's the frame. Just a frame, and it's 2 layers deep. If I hold it up here, you could see, oh, you put dimensionals in there. So here's one layer that kind of holds the flower up, the leaves up. And then there's another layer. I think today I want to put, this is another something, this paper over the top of the frame. See if that looks a little bit better. I'll talk about this second paper here in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to cut out 2 of these. They're right here. You know what, let's get the paper base going, the card base, then it might be a little bit more logical, like what all these things are, all these papers. So this is just regular white paper, cut in half at 4 1/4. Okay, got that. I could do that. These papers right here, crumb cake and white, are for the inside. Okay, this is going to go in here, but when you look at the sample, I was like, oh, you need the bigger paper. So that is this one, which is watercolor paper. Here how thick it is. It has a little bit of texture to it. That's this die right here. So I'm going to cut that out. Okay, we're getting there. This is for doing the stamping. So let's stamp the flower, double leaf, single leaf, and little flower, single leaf. So if you're like, now what is that? I have a little template because I'm template queen. If I see something in front of me, I could copy it, I could try. But if you don't know, and just from words and just from looking at pictures, you're like, no, what am I doing? Okay, and these are other papers. We'll figure out these other papers here in just a minute. So if you have everything all cut based on the description, the sizes, we could do this together. Okay, your embossing buddy. Sometimes I was about to call it Betty Boop, because see the picture on there? So take your Betty, and, well, if they could call Winka Stella, if they could call it Stella, this is Betty. And I would say just rub it over the top, that's good. But when I was doing the samples, I threw away one whole paper just because there's too many freckles. Even this one has too many freckles. The freckles are caused by a little bit of static holding on to the embossing powder particles. Many of them will be cut off. Some of them will be right in the way. But after you get the color nice, bright oranges and Poppy Parade, you don't notice it so much. So this one, it will do. So to try to fix that, I'm going to take my Betty, kind of tap it, and I'm trying to get some of that powder to be released, just because I want to make sure there's no static on here. And then kind of rub it, because if there's blobs of powder, I want them everywhere. And I know that's a little bit excessive, but you need to do that. I'm going to keep this nearby because we will be embossing this part too here in just a minute. But for now, with Versamark and black powder, let's stamp these images on the paper. And because everything now is polymer, it's good to use the pad. Because you know when we had the red rubber, there was the red rubber, a little mini foam pad, and then it would cling onto the block. We don't have that little foam pad anymore, so this makes all the difference. We have a foam pad underneath. It just makes for better stamping, more solid. Okay, Versamark. It's funny, one desk gets really busy sometimes. Okay, so big flower, that's big. And get it inked up. And I'm going to do something a little bit different. Usually I would ink it, put the powder on it, heat it, then go to the next one. The dilemma, the issue is that when you stamp this, you can't see the Versamark. It's clear ink, you can't see it. Maybe if you held it right at the right angle, but in that much time it starts to dry, absorb into the paper, therefore you don't get as much powder on it. So what I'm going to do, which is a little different, and I'll tell you why it's challenging, because it gives you kind of opportunity to mess up your Versamark pad. I'll show you in just a minute. Okay, so stamp, I'm going to get it into the powder. Make sure I get that good in the middle. Powder. Okay, there it is. So normally you would heat it, but every time I did that, I seemed to overheat it, and the shininess from the embossing powder, kind of the raised edge, disappeared. The paper drank it up, and I was disappointed in it. It didn't look nearly as good as if you hit it just once. So I cleared it off so there's no little particles over here, and I'm going to move on to the next stamp, which is the double leaf. I hear that dog knocking. Hold on. Smile. Smile. Monday he's going to go in and he's going to get a mani-pedi. Get all cleaned up and smelling good. Won't come soon enough. It's like this time we waited too long. Okay. So I'm going to do the same process, just because it's like, yeah, I know you stamped it, but I don't see it. That's good. Okay, and the two little leaves, I'll try to do those. Maybe I'll put the flower here. Flower. Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Hope I'm spacing them okay. I would say do that on all of it, but you can't see. Okay, powder on these. There's a big glob right there, but I don't care because I'm going to cut around it. The die will cut it out. And it's not worth me trying to get it off because I might disturb this. Okay, so everything is just powder. Okay, and if you had powder residue on here, you put your ink on here, your stamp back into the pad, you might transfer some of the powder. So that's why I say, just be careful and you'll be fine. Okay, now I'm going to heat this. Okay, so when I was heating this, I wanted to make sure that the powder turned to a solid and it was shiny, but as soon as it changed, I was done with that area. If you keep heating it, like thinking, oh, did I get that area? It's not good. I see that I missed, I think right here. The leaves look good. That's fine. You just don't want any powder because when you do the watercoloring, if there's powder, the water painter will pick up the powder and your ink won't stay in its little chamber. See, in some of these, it's like, is it? Okay, I'm gonna try over here and maybe a little bit to the middle. Okay, we're set. Okay, so I'm going to cut these out, and if you're going to cut out multiple images, you have lots of dies, you could put them all on and run them through all at one time. That is if you stamped them and you have space, because you never want your dies to touch. If there's any, like, see how these are really close? You want to cut them separate. Okay, but I have this done for you. So here they are. You ready to try some watercoloring? I'll put them on here. Well, I don't want to watercolor them on there. This paper right down here is going to get full of color. Let's do watercoloring. And we'll do the test, just so you know what to expect. If you know what to expect, it's not intimidating. Okay, we're going to watercolor all these. Okay, so I'm going to take my aqua painter, and you know each aqua painter is a little bit different. Water painter, aqua painter, whatever you have. If you get a cheapo one, the little hairs come out of it and it causes a problem. So I like the Stampin' Up ones. So I'm going to give this a squeeze right down in here, and that's going to release some water. And I'm just checking how much water is on here. This is one of my favorite ones. I just keep it in my stamping caddy. But some of them are a little bit drier and some of them let go of more water. That one lets go of a little bit more water, but it's still good. It's still controlled. So both of these are good. Okay, so let's pretend like we're coloring a petal. So when you look at the petal, do you see the Poppy Parade, the dark? Do you see the Pumpkin Pie, the midpoint, and the Daffodil Delight? That's the goal. And we're going to start out by doing a color wash over maybe 2 of the petals. And what that means is pretend like this was a petal, give it a squeeze, do a swoosh of color. I could see that the paper is wet, but it's not a puddle. Okay, go into the ink. I need to get more ink. And then see how it just kind of flows? And it flows because the paper has the watercolor wash on it. Let's do the second leaf. And it's like, oh, I want it darker. You can add more. So that's a little bit darker. Okay, while it's still wet, I'm going to clear out my brush because I want to go into the pumpkin pie. I want all the colors to be represented, so you don't want to blend them too much. See how they're kind of flowing together? That's because the paper is wet. That's a little bit lighter, but that's okay. Okay, clear it out. Let's go right into Daffodil. Isn't that pretty? It's like, okay, I could do this. So if you forget to do the watercolor wash, like we haven't done right here, this is what happens. That could be good sometimes, but not for what we're doing. Not today. This is more what we're looking for. So if you have the confidence in that, you can go right to coloring this. Okay, so I'm going to wash out the color. I would say, ooh, Poppy Parade, that's exactly the color I want, but I want to do the wash over all of this big petal. So I'm going to get it cleared out because I want just clear water. Okay, and I will do over the whole thing. And because it's clear water, it's okay if you extend outside the focus petal. Then go in, I need to get more ink. Poppy Parade right in the middle. Oh, look at that go. Isn't that fun? Okay. I'm going to clear it out and get pumpkin pie. And once again, it's just because I want to create a couple of different zones of color. If this had Poppy Parade mixed in with it, it wouldn't be pumpkin pie. It'd be pumpkin, it would be pumpkin, it'd be poppy pie. Okay, and then on to the yellow. And when you do the yellow, it's okay if you leave a little bit of super light yellow or white at the edges. I'm going to try to do that. I don't know. That's fine. Isn't that pretty? It's like we did it. We did it. Okay, I keep saying I need to get more color on my blocks. So clear that out. Put this over here. So I use blocks just because I can control the color. If I were to dip right into there, ooh, it'd be strong, but you can't really control how much color you're picking up. So I just like to use blocks, whatever size you have. Even if you just have a big one, it has 4 corners like this one. I did just the corner. That's a little bit bigger of the corner. And Daffodil Delight. When I put it on the white paper, it's like, oh, there's some color on it. Not enough. Now that's some color. And since I'm on a roll, we will be doing the leaves next. So I'm going to make sure the color is there. That has plenty of color. You know, I don't need that much pretty peacock. Ooh, no crumb cake on that one. Crumb cake. Okay. We're set. Okay, so I'm going to power through this one. Okay, so how about, no color on there, how about doing 3 petals? They're a little bit smaller. Watercolor wash, just so the color will flow. Poppy Parade. Ooh. And see this, how I'm doing just right in here? When that has the yellow top from the previous petal, it just makes it look really realistic. And if you look at the pictures, I'll put pictures on my blog, which is JilliBling.com. You'll see, oh, you went outside the line when I'm coloring. I'm trying not to, but if you do, don't trash the whole thing. It's okay. Because you probably didn't notice, huh? Yeah. On the sample, I went outside the line a few times. Okay. Put this over here. Okay, we have 4 petals done. So I'm going to clear it out. And when I'm clearing it out, I'm giving it a squeeze to get the water to flush through the brush tips. I could do these, but I want this to dry because I really like how it looks. So I'm going to move on to maybe these 2 big ones. Gonna squeeze, do the watercolor wash. Okay, Poppy, right down here. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so last night we went out to Tina Turner, the musical. I like Tina Turner. And it's all about her life. And it's at the Holt Center. It was so good. It might be so good, it was very good. Because I don't do things like that often. But Tony's sister Kathy is like, hey, you want to go with us to Tina Turner? I'm like, Tina Turner? I thought she passed, but if tribute band, heck yeah. So I said, yeah. And she goes, okay, well, I'll get seats. I said, okay, let me know. I'll pay you back. Okay. Then while Tony, Kathy, and David were in Sacramento visiting Oma over the holidays, I saw this commercial on TV for Tina Turner, the musical. And I'm like, what coincidental timing. We're going to go to a tribute band, and we're going to see Tina. But it kept playing. So I sent Kathy a text. I said, is this a musical or is it a tribute band? She says, no, it's a musical. And I'm like, oh, well, I kind of talked Tony into that. And I know we've done plenty of musicals. And I know that he'll be like, oh, I thought it was tribute. And I'm like, oh, I did too. But we already said yes. And we have the tickets. So we went and we had a wonderful time. Okay, as somebody who's old, it started at 8 o'clock. That's my getting jammies and getting my chair time. We didn't get home until, or we didn't get in bed till like 12:30. Like, oh my goodness. But we had a really good time. Survived just fine. It was a good evening. And my friend Amy went the night before, and Tony says, well, don't tell us. Don't give us any specifics. Okay. So the next morning she sent a text saying, Tina was fabulous. And you know what? I agree with her. Tina was fabulous. She had quite a hard life. But she did all of the songs that we thought she should. And the star performer was incredible. Everyone was. Even the little youthful living with her sister, Tina. Wow, a star in the making. Okay, so remember how I was a little bit particular about not overheating the embossing powder because you wanted that nice wall, like the tall wall. You don't want powder, and you don't want to heat it too much. And I say that because, do you see right there? Oh, after I color this, I'll hold it up. The previous color, the pumpkin pie, kind of drifted through a breach in the wall in the fortress, and it went into the petal. It's not going to stop what I'm doing, but I think I just heated it too much there because I don't even see the shine on it. So that's why I was being a little bit particular about how you heat it. Okay, so I'm not sure about the wash on there. There's a watercolor wash, and I'm going to do it yellow because I'm thinking it's the leaf fold over. So you can hardly tell now. Okay. It's a funny thing when you do this and you get done and you're loving it, all of a sudden you'll find like 5 little white no color freckles. You're like, I know I got all that, and every single time it happens. How about these ones right here, these 3? So give it a squeeze, watercolor wash, so that pigment, the ink will flow. Okay, we're ready. Poppy Parade. I think that's like the most dramatic. Look at that. Poppy Parade way down into here. And we still get to do the leaves and the other little flower. Maybe I should have had the little flower already done. See right there, it seems it's not flowing very much. I'm wondering if I missed the watercolor wash. So, there. Now you have wash on you. A swoosh of water. Okay, you know how I was talking about the areas that all of a sudden you see? Oh, it's a little white freckled. What happened? I see it right here. Oh, I don't know why that is. Whenever I have questions about why things happen, for instance, thank you all for schooling me on butterflies. Because I think in a video I said, I don't even know what butterflies eat. And someone replied, they eat nectar. Of course they eat nectar from flowers. And then Faith sent a message saying, a butterfly has 3 parts, and she named them. And she mentioned that they have a little, butterflies have a little tube that they get the nectar from flowers. It's like, you all are so smart. Isn't it? We're doing good here, huh? Okay, that's kind of dry, so I'll do these right here. No color in there. Do the wash. Okay, everything is being washed. Swoosh of color, or swoosh of water. Okay, Poppy Parade, the most dramatic. This is the most Tina. Poppy Parade is Tina Turner. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Oop, I went into the top of that one. Don't tell anyone. Pumpkin pie. So you can, if you want, if you're a little courageous, I'm not going to do it. If you want, you could let this dry and go back and add more color. Or you could do, remember how when you put color on your brush and you go onto dry paper, how it's a little bit more strong and definite, it doesn't flow? You can add like a whole other layer if you want. I could see if you were doing, if you had your canvas, you were doing a big scene and it was like maybe a farm and hills, then later, after it all dried, then you could go back and do fences. That's when you would want it crisp. But the scene, the hills, that could be swoosh in color. So I'm going to do these two now, and then I'll do those. No color in there. And if you get too much water, or if you have a water painter that just does too much color, it just, the Poppy Parade, all the colors will just, they'd flow a little bit easier. The too much color would be good on, oh, see like right there? That's a little bit too much color, or too much water. Because see how it flows really good. I want it a little bit darker there, but if I put more, it's just going to keep on spreading. We'll do more water. I could see the water puddling on this one. We'll do more water on that background piece. The bigger die cut, there's a lot of water right there. Just because I want that to be a little bit more flowing. Isn't this pretty? It does take a little bit of time, but somehow I'm just captivated by it, and it's okay. I'll do a hint over here. Thinking that is closer to the center of the petal. That's the tips of it. So that gets daffodil. Okay, daffodil. And Uncle David went with us last night, and remember how he was in the hospital for flu and pneumonia this past weekend? He's doing pretty good. We walked up in the garage. It was like 3 flights of stairs to get to the car. And I'm like, ooh, he can't do this. But he did okay. Even walking down the stairs in the theater, he was fine. Okay, we're almost done with this one. Don't I have beautiful scratch paper? So you're kind of going for different zones of color, but you definitely want to see all the colors. What a lot of people do is, see how I'm putting the pumpkin pie on right now? They run over the Poppy Parade and then it becomes Poppy Pie. You want them each to have their own little separate zone, even though they blend together. Okay, we are done with this one. Okay, what do you think? Isn't that just stunning? Think of it in purples. Like Highland Heather, Fresh Freesia, Berry Burst, ooh. Or even Highland Heather and Freesia. Or just Highland Heather. Okay, let's do 3 petals. Wash of color. I'm going to do the whole thing. Poppy, right in the middle. Okay. Pumpkin pie. I would say I need more color, but we're almost done with pumpkin pie. So next we're going to do the leaves. To do the leaves, same process, but I'm going to do the watercolor wash over the whole thing, and then do it mostly crumb cake, and then add in just a little bit of peacock. Oop, is it dry there? I don't think my watercolor wash did too good. Okay, if your watercolor wash didn't do too good, see how they're not spreading? Clear that out, because I want my wash to be, am I out of water? No. I want my wash to be clear. And I don't like that there's time going by before I do this, but, or maybe I just planned on doing a few. Maybe I just skipped it. Okay. It's real washy now. Okay. Next is sparingly pick up pumpkin pie. It was kind of a disaster. Poppy Parade is spreading everywhere. Okay. And you know the flowers for the inside, the die cut cuts it out fine, but I ended up kind of trimming it to make the border just a little smaller. I might do that again for the inside. The outside it's fine. Okay. Oh, the flower center is going to be crumb cake. Just a little bit of brown. Okay, let that dry. Okay, so for the leaves, we'll do one at a time. Let me turn my paper. Okay, clear it out. Let's just do this one. This one I might have heated it too much. We'll see how it works. So it's going to be crumb cake everywhere. Okay, and that's just the right amount of water on that one. So now I'm going to do pumpkin pie just in the center. I'll hold this up. Oh, let me clear this out, because it's kind of interesting when you do this. Okay, I'm going to go right in the center, just kind of like a vein, and I'm relying on the watercolor wash to kind of blend it a bit. And if you're thinking, oh, well, that isn't all that precise, you're right. But in the end, when it dries a little bit softer, a little bit more blended, and it all, somehow it works out. Because you could really see the lines in here, but it's just fine. Okay, so that one is done. So I'm going to take the pretty peacock out of here. And when I'm looking at this leaf, I see those little white spots. It's like, how's that happen? See right over here? Oh, there's a white spot. Okay, let it dry. Let's do it again. Okay, watercolor wash over the whole thing. Make sure there's enough. See, that's just a perfect amount of water. Pick up some crumb cake. It's like that's a little light, but it's okay for the leaves to be a little bit of a different color. So if you're doing this on regular paper, which you can, going over, because see how I keep on kind of brushing it? It would make the paper kind of, what do they call it? Like it pells up, it balls up in areas. It doesn't withstand all of this messing around with it. On the inside of the card, we'll do a little bit of watercolor wash behind the little flower. And then you could see it doesn't behave quite the same. Okay, that one looks really different. Let me get this out. See if I put more water on it, if it will kind of soften it up. And I found another white spot. Okay, give it a squeeze. It just kind of softens it up. Another thing with watercolor paper, see how I'm going over it again and it kind of softens it all? If you did that on regular paper, it wouldn't behave quite like that. The regular paper would be like, I'm tired, enough of that. Okay, they look really different, but they both look good. Okay, clear this out. We'll do one leaf at a time. Watercolor wash. Trying to get in all those corners. Okay, crumb cake. Oop, I went outside the, hey, that worked. I went outside the line and oop, didn't know that. It's a little heavy here at the top. You know, I wonder that right there, if that's like a fuzzy that was on the pad. I think it was. Sometimes when people do project boxes, they use baby wipes. Baby wipes might be good for when you're doing it, but later it leaves little fuzzies in the ink pad, and that's not so good. Just because if you're stamping happy birthday, you don't want a fuzzy in between the H and the B. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit more water on here, just because I want the pretty peacock to kind of merge with the crumb cake. See, I pretend like I know what I'm doing. Nope. Then I'm gonna do the stem, and I'm okay if it's dry down here, because I want it to be pretty peacock. Okay, we're done with that. Clear it out, clear it out, and watercolor wash for our final leaf. We did it. Yeah. There's little fuzzies. So if you have fuzzies on your stamp pad, a way you could get rid of it is take a lint roller and put it right onto the stamp pad. Yes, it will get really inky, but at least you'll get those little fuzzies away. Every one of them is different. so all of these, I hope I see all kinds of white. You know what, I'm going to need more crumb cake for the background. So we're going to have to fix that fuzzies problem, baby wipe fuzzies problem. Crumb cake, lint roller, fuzzies be gone. You see fuzzies? Okay. Crumb cake. Ooh, it's nice and smooth. Okay, since we are on a roll, I see those little white freckles. It's just the strangest thing. Since we're on a roll with watercoloring, let's do the background. Okay, these could go here. So the background I'm referring to is this right here. And then just a little bit there. Okay, so we will start with this paper, and I'm going to stamp those little flowers which come in the bundle. It's this stamp right here. Is that just the cutest thing? They're kind of funky looking flowers, but somehow I like them. Okay. First mark. Cute little flowers. So this is another time that you're stamping. It's like, well, you can't see where I did it, but because it's a background, it's okay if you overlap a little. So I'm going to do the best I can, and maybe halfway through I'll put powder on it, just because I can't see nothing. That one didn't get stamped very good. There's some overlapping. It's just a background. Okay, but at least I could see half of them. Should I put more there? Yeah. But see how I got all the powder off of there? Is that Tony home? Okay, that's good. Into the powder, then heated. Bo, you have to wait. Bo, wait. I know, I know. Those, I think I heated them too much. It's funny, on watercolor paper, it's more temperamental. Okay, so back over to here. We already did our tester. Here's our frame. Our inside white paper is going to get just a couple of stamps to be underneath the flower and leaf. So, Betty. Oh, Betty up here too. Versamark. Little flowers. Just thinking where the leaves will be. flower will be. Then, since I'm on a roll, thinking of you, Bo, you have to wait. He'll be right here. Well, I had the stamp on. Now you have to wait. I know. I know. Okay. Oh, wait, wait. Well, I'll have you know, embossing powder on plain white paper is much more user-friendly versus watercolor paper. Okay, so let's do the watercolor. Hold on, hold on. You have to go out. Okay, so we're gonna do, this is right in front of us, let's do the watercolor wash. Favorite pen, make sure there's, ooh, there's crumb cake in it. And watercolor wash is gonna go like that. Woohoo! A little bit of crumb while it's still, has the wash on it. See, it doesn't behave nearly as well. And you could tell I didn't do the watercolor wash down there, but that's where the leaf will go there. So, a little funky. Well, this one I got it way over to there. Okay, watercolor wash. See how it's kind of, yeah, a little ugly. Okay, and I won't do any of the pretty peacock in here. I think that could be kind of a problem. Okay, but on here, this gets all the colors. This gets it all. Okay, sample. Look at that. It's going to get color everywhere. So I would just start at the bottom, and then I'll do midpoint, then I'll do the top. Okay, how much water do I have? Plenty. There's squeeze. I might even get a drip on here. Okay, just at the bottom. I'm going to get it while it's still wet. So the flowers have everything. And I'm purposely leaving it a little bit splotchy. Because to me, I think it kind of looks like hills. And while it's still real wet, I'm going to dip into here. Just a little bit of color. But see how the watercolor wash makes the color kind of spread? And I don't want to keep going over it because I don't want a combo of the two colors. Isn't that fun? Okay, midpoint, maybe I'll try doing the whole top. I don't know. Okay, get the color out of there. Okay, watercolor wash the whole thing. I'm going to get a drip on here if I can. Drip. Okay, here we go. Crumb cake. Okay, and then a little darker than I planned, but see how it still kind of moves a little bit? And I want, see how I'm putting the pretty peacock up there? Just because when this paper goes onto the textured paper, I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, it blends. Okay, and the paper's curling up, which is fine. When it dries, it'll go flat. Okay, done with all these. And then I'll go under the kitchen sink, just run water over it and it'll be fine. Or if I'm feeling lazy, there, it's clean. Okay, I think we're done with Stampin' and watercoloring. So do you have a little more confidence in watercoloring now? I hope you do. Decorated paper with texture. I would put a block on this, but I'm going to let it dry a little bit more. If I put a block on it before it dried, I might have, where the block touches, I might have a blob of ink. So I'm just going to let it dry a bit more. Okay, let's see. So here's a sample. Let's get started on that. Okay, so this paper is the hinge. And it is 2 or 2 1/8 by 3, and I'm going to score it right in half at 1 1/2. That's for this right here. Okay, so score it. One and a half. And texture it. Okay. Here it is. Okay, so these two papers, one of them is for texturing, and the other one is the texture right here, and the other one is to cut out these pieces right here. And you're like, well, what are those pieces? If I were to take this, turn it upside down, this one in particular is clean. Not quite sure how I do that, but somehow they get yucky and dirty. And also it's a little hint of a different, it's a warmer color, where this is more of a fresher, bright white. So I guess it's nice to cover up the backside. And it's nice to have it as 2 layers. So let's see, they're slightly different in size. I want the 5 3/8 by 4 1/8 to be the texture. That's this one. And that's just because it sits right on the front with a little tiny border. Okay, so texture this one. Here it is. And then this one, we'll do this in just a minute. I'm getting back to the card base because I get confused easy. Okay, so there's card base, crumb cake layer, stamped layer. Actually, that's done. I could stick it on. This is still a little bit wet. Then these go here. So I'm going to stick this down right on top of the card front. Because it's textured, I'm going to be a little bit heavy on the glue. I should have done this before, so it has a minute to dry with a little weight on it. So see how there's just a tiny little border right along here? Okay, I'm going to set this off to the side with this on it and this on it. Okay, so when we are building, there, you can see better now. So when we're building this one's going to go upside down, that one's going to go on top of it. The flowers, look how pretty. These are for inside. I'm just picking any two. Then this one's going to go here, right on top. This one will go over here. This will go right here. And it was a challenge to make sure that I could get it in an envelope. See how it's sticking out just a little bit? And then same down here. Well, this is doing good. So it started out really curled up and now it's kind of flattened. This, and it's not wet anymore. I'm going to put it under the weight with the textured card base. Just because I want it to dry really flat. Okay, so, and then this will go right under here. And if you're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's just stick all those together. When you start thinking about it, it's like, wait a minute, I need this piece underneath first so that this one could perfectly lay on top. And all of a sudden it starts getting confusing. Or maybe it was just me, I don't know. So here we are, back to this. That's looking good. So this piece is just going to get glued right center of the card front. This is the card front. And I'm glad I didn't glue that down because we have to get the hinge under there. Okay, so heavy glue because there's texture. The eyelet embossing folder. I was looking for the Damask embossing folder, but it's busy. But I love that folder. It's current too. Okay, looking at top and bottom, they're equal. Side to side, they're equal. Making sure the rounded points are parallel with the bottom. Okay, that looks good. Dry. Dry. Okay, so the next step is to take the hinge and put it underneath the crumb cake paper, right under here. See how much I have down here and how much I have up there? I can measure it. It doesn't matter. It just needs to be somewhere about in that area. This is about 3/4 of an inch. So let's go with that. Because you can see this corner of the flower, you could pivot it so that it covers up the seam. And then here's like a 3/8 of an inch from the flower tip or the petal, the leaf tip to the hinge. So there's a room. Okay, did you dry? Okay, so what do we say? 3/4 of an inch right down here. I'm going to put glue all over this. There, but mostly on the edge. And when I put this on, I want it to hang over the edge just a little bit. Let me find the 3/4 of an inch. Just because we want the front of the card to still be able to lay flat. So when it closes, I probably could do it a little bit more. Maybe? Ooh. Okay, so I'll put this under here so you can see what I'm talking about. See how it's hanging over a little bit? It isn't perfectly flush with the edge of the card. And that's just so there's room for this to still work. Okay, that's good. This all can go on now. This, because we did the watercoloring, this might need to be weighted down too. Crumb cake. See how it's curly? It's a little curvy. Where we watercolored. Okay, so all the way around the outside. And then where we watercolored, it gets bonus. So yesterday we had, do you remember a few months ago we had the heater or air conditioner, the heat pump, whatever you call it. It was on the fritz. We had to get a new one. So we had a checkup the other day. Put in a new filter, and it was the funniest thing. Every time it went on and went off, it would be silent, then all of a sudden you would hear it sound like there was like suction or a vacuum, and go like sheet metal sound. I'm like, it sounds like someone's breaking into the house. And we've been dealing with that ever since they put it in. So when the guy came up, I said, Mama don't like that noise. It sounds like someone's breaking in. Tony says, I already told him. So they fixed it. Yay! Okay. Something was sticking back there. I'm kind of procrastinating doing the front. But we have other things that we have to do, right? Like these. Let's put these in. So these I just put in with, like, okay, see how big that is? See the white around it? I don't like that. It's just too much. So I probably should have fussy cut it to begin with. I don't know why it's so obvious on this little flower. I don't know. I'm supposed to be somewhere in 10 minutes. We're going to be done here. See, that's just too big. It looks good. If Tony comes in, I'll tell him to tell the girls I'll be there. Okay, and I'm just going to put glue in the center of this. Because it has the watercoloring on it, it'll be inclined to pop up. And then glue just at the bottom, because it's already curling up a little bit. And I'm going to cover that heavy spot. Okay, done with that. So for this frame needs to be here and there. And I'm going to put, oh, the cutouts. I'm going to use the dies to cut out a big flower, big single leaf, and a double leaf. Put it right here. So that goes there. So I'm going to put glue right here. Okay, so the frame is attached. Then this will go right here. Maybe this one I'll do without dimensionals, just so it's kind of like sturdy. You could do it either way, whatever way you like it. But with the glue in there, it's going to be a little bit more substantial. Okay, that looks good. Now, the flower for now is going to get a few dimensionals in the middle. We know the flower will be right here. And I'm going to try to cover up this bit of the hinge. So just like that. Okay. This leaf is going to go right here, but I need it to stay on the card front. So we'll glue right here. Okay. And this leaf is going to cover up this part of the hinge. See the hinge? So right about like that. And I know everything is kind of sparsely attached, but that's because the second layer is going to come in handy. So, dimensionals on this leaf, the flower, it's going to kind of lock it in place. It's sheets day, doing sheets and towels. We have this sanitary cycle and it gets it really hot, and I don't know, I just feel the need to do that all the time. Sanitize stuff. Okay. I have one more dimensional on here, so it is going right here. Okay, so this piece, nothing stamped on it. We're going to use the back side. So you can take your bone folder and go over the edge, and it just kind of helps round it out a little bit. Because you know, when you touch the paper after you die cut it, you could tell what's the top and what's the bottom. So I'm going to put glue all over this part. I'm trying to go fast. I don't like the girls to have to wait. Okay, and I'm not going to put it down too hard because I still have to tuck those leaves in. Kind of funny putting glue on the pretty side. Okay, that one's lined up. Okay, that's good. Dimensionals. Now this one is going to tuck right into here. Maybe some dimensionals right on there. It's kind of what it's holding it all together. This will go right under here. Oops. Okay. I think I like it better that way. There we go. And one last step, and I might kind of cheat at this. So, see the rhinestones? You take your Sharpie, you can use your blends and color them in, all sides of it. And I'm using a Sharpie just because using your blends, I treasure my blends, and it kind of frays the tip of it, and I don't want that. Okay, and then one small one on the inside, and I'm going to do a few more for out here. And because these little pod things are so perfect, I'm just putting them in random places and not covering the little pollinators. Faith, you tell me the name. Okay, so there we go. We did it. We did it. Pretty, huh? So thank you for watching, and thank you for all those that comment. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great day, and I hope you make something like this. Okay.